Hey everyone, it's Dr. Davis coming to you from Bad Method Fitness. Welcome into my near backyard. Our topic today is going to be about cold and flu supplements. And I want to make sure I give you all the best data that's out there in terms of whether it makes sense to use these. And most importantly, not just because it's horrible when you're feeling horrible, but it's also helpful in terms of being able to get back out into exercise. And we'll talk about that in a later video about when it's okay to exercise and when it's not really okay to exercise if you're dealing with some type of medical illness, specifically a cold or a flu. So the reason this came up is because, as you can hear, I'm actually recovering from a cold. It was some pretty nasty virus. So one of the most commonly used agents that are out there is zinc. And zinc can come in many forms. It used to be available in a nasal spray or gel, which you would use inside your nose. But unfortunately, people claimed, a couple of them said that they had lost the sense of smell in their nose, and it may have actually been because they were inhaling or insufflating it, which is not the correct way to use it. You're actually supposed to use it to just line the inner cavity of the nasal passages. And the same thing with using let me make sure I cover up the name, a zinc lozenge, because the lozenge helps coat the throat, which is another place where viruses can enter, and the zinc may be able to help block the virus from actually getting into your cells. So taking zinc as an agent inside your body without it coating either of the two passageways may not be the right way to use it. Instead, you probably have to use it locally to do what it's supposed to do. And zinc may be able to help reduce the likelihood that you're going to get a cold, and it may actually be able to help the duration of a cold and actually help reduce. Sorry, I'm trying to use my computer here at the same time, so let's make sure we're staying on track. So zinc is used to try to help block that effect of the viruses getting into your body. Another very commonly used agent is echinacea, and again, let me try to cover up so they can come in variable versions, but this is just one that primarily has echinacea and maybe some other agents. But echinacea actually does have some data behind it to show that it may help with reducing your risk of getting a cold and actually helping with the immunity against it, but it may not actually benefit you in terms of the length of the cold. There's also some data in terms of helping with anti-inflammatory or other skin conditions. Maybe there's some anti-cancer effect, but I don't want to go too far off the beaten path because we're really talking today about colds and flus. So this will be no exception. Umcka, UMCKA, is a product that has been shown to try to help reduce the length of a cold and maybe even the likelihood of you getting a cold. It has very low potential for side effects. The length of time that you should be taking any of these products is probably short-lived, and so this would be no exception. The next product I want to talk about is elderberry, and this is a botanical. This is a fruit that comes from a tree that's found all over the world. This is one of the most commonly used medicinal agents around the world, and there is data to show that elderberry actually can help reduce the duration of the actual flu, the true influenza, and it has also been shown to help reduce the length of time that if you have a cold that you would be affected by it. The other beauty is that it's very high in other antioxidants and may be good for heart health and other factors. So it's helpful to take this when you're using it as part of as an abortive agent, which just basically means to stop or block the effect of the cold. But you do have to be worried that you can't take the elderberry for a long period of time because it may have some potentially negative impact to the system. And so we don't recommend taking elderberry for more than, say, 3 to 4 weeks at most. In most cases, if you're using it to try to help fight off a cold, you're probably talking about 1 to 2 weeks at most. Next agent I want to talk about is vitamin C. Ascorbic acid is the other name for this. Most people get plenty of this in their diet if they're eating enough of the citrus fruits. So it's not something that I think that you have to necessarily supplement, but it oftentimes is in supplements like we were talking about in our last video. But if you are trying to use it to try to help against a cold or a flu, there's probably very little data to help support its benefit for you. It may give some minimal benefit. You do have to be careful because high levels can either cause you problems with the stomach or can actually, at very high levels, can actually lead to you getting stones of vitamin C that end up in your urine. And trust me, I've had kidney stones. They're not fun. I wouldn't recommend it. So vitamin C, if that's something that you want to use, just remember to use it in small amounts. Most people recommend taking just about 500 milligrams a couple of times a day. Other agents that are out there that I just want to give a shout out to because there may be some data to show that they can be beneficial are garlic and oregano oil, because they're obviously very safe for you and they're actually very healthy. You can take those as part of trying to block the presence of a cold. Flu tends to be a slightly different scenario, but I think it's important that we do consider that these may help. I will always put a shout out, obviously, for good, healthy living, making sure that you're eating right. I do believe in vaccines, especially the flu vaccine. COVID, you can have your own thoughts about that, but I do believe that there is some benefit that has shown that individuals that get the COVID vaccine, first of all, are less likely to get the illness if they come in contact with it. Number two, they are less likely to have serious complications from COVID. And number three, if they do get COVID, they are less likely to get what's called long COVID or post-COVID. So believe it or not, that's your choice. I'm just going to give you the data and just tell you what my personal views are based upon my review of the literature. Plus, I also have some background in the area of serology and immunology, so I think I'm a little closer to this than most. So I just wanted to give you a shout out. I'm finally recovering from this miserable cold. So I just want to give a shout out and say hello to everybody, and thank you for tuning in. We'll talk to you next time. Take care.